Good afternoon to you. This is Talk the Home of Common Sense. Philip Ingram still with me. Delighted to be joined now by the wonderful Maya Forstater. She's Chief Executive of Sex Matters to discuss, a small victory. We have to celebrate these members. A small victory for common sense when it comes to trans madness. Good afternoon to you, Maya.
Hello, Julia.
Thank you so much for joining us. There may well be small victories, bigger victories with Donald Trump being elected. I'm sure a man you and I don't hold a candle for, but as a human being. But in terms of the trans madness in America, this may well help things. But small victories here in the UK involving a woman called Roz Adams who worked for a rape crisis centre, and J.K. Rowling is among those cheering on what's happened. Tell us what's happened to her.
So Roz Adams worked at Edinburgh Rape Crisis Centre, where she learnt when she got there that they said trans women are women, and they employed a man who identifies as a woman as the chief executive of the centre. And so she became worried that she couldn't tell users of the centre clearly that there are no men here.
Which is a major issue for women who've been abused, who've been raped, that they want to be somewhere they consider a safe place.
Absolutely, and it was advertised as being a service that was by women for women, and yet she knew that there was a man who was running the organisation, and also she had colleagues who were female but who identified as non-binary, and so they changed their name, or one of them changed her name to something ambiguous. And Roz asked, well, how do I explain to users that they will be seen by women, a woman who calls herself they, them, fine. But what the users want to know is, am I going to be seen by a woman? And she was accused of being transphobic. For worrying about really, really scared, hurt women who'd been raped. What a horrible person she is. Yes, yeah, and they said that when people sent emails to the centre to ask about whether they had female staff, those emails were filed under hate. The culture of the place was just not focused on the people that they should be concerned about, which is the women who've been raped. It was focused on the identity of the staff, and so Roz tried to ask very careful questions about this, and she was subject to a heresy hunt and driven out of the organisation. And now she's won her tribunal, and not only has she got financial compensation, but the tribunal has just said that Edinburgh Rape Crisis Centre needs to apologise to her, needs to admit that it discriminated against and harassed her, and that nothing that she did was bullying or harassment towards them.
Yeah, a proper victory, and again, a £70,000 payout. That said, the trauma, the difficulty that people go through when this happens to them, most people don't push for tribunal, most people don't get the publicity, they don't get that payback. They kind of go away quietly because they don't want a bad reference, or they just feel the battle is too hard. And it's really important that we cheer on those who do battle this, because this sets a precedent. And like your case, your employment tribunal case, where again you were accused of transphobia and nothing of the sort, just standing up for your right to have certain beliefs based on facts about a man being a man, a woman being a woman, not being able to change between the two. And it's really important that is established, that is a protected belief, because we shouldn't need to protect facts from the law, but apparently we do these days. J.K. Rowling has cheered this on. I mean, I believe that Roz Adams now actually continues her fantastic work helping women in crisis, working for a centre set up by J.K. Rowling, because she wanted to make sure that women did have a safe place to go. But it is so extraordinary that in so many of the so-called sort of caring, charities, and in NHS and in schools and all these charities and all these bodies that they care so much about people, and yet they'll put the needs of a man who wants to identify as a woman above the needs of people who are genuinely vulnerable and in distress.
Yes, I think they've got a completely wrong idea of what it means to be inclusive. They've become so focused on the idea that they need to include men who identify as women that they're not thinking about what's the impact of this on women, children, girls, female athletes. Depending on what the organisation is, those people seemingly don't matter, and the only thing that matters is the feelings of men who identify as women.
Yeah, it is just extraordinary. Again, we will take these small victories as they come. I'm certainly hope that a little bit of the crackdown on the woke madness in America could trickle down here. Are you hopeful?
Yes, I'm hopeful. I think what the US election showed was that people on all sides disagree with this and want to see children protected and want to see women's rights protected.
Yeah, absolutely. Forstater from Sex Matters, thank you very much indeed for joining us. Appreciate that.